have Danica Patrick has joined us here in the Media Center at Richmond. We appreciate that. She drives the number 7 GoDaddy.com Chevrolet for JR Motorsports in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And Danica, as we get to the kind of the stretch run of the season here, I know you'll be running some more Cup races as well. But talk about your what you want to try to do here this evening here at Richmond, and how the car is running so far.
Well, I want to run well, but practice was okay. I don't think that we didn't necessarily get a quick lap off, but I think we were relatively consistent. We were definitely pretty tight in the center of the corner through all of practice. But last year when we were here, we were a little faster, and we were a little tight in the center as well. And I feel like in the race we were just so loose the whole way around the corner that especially entry and exit, that it really hurt my race. So I'm hoping that maybe if we just kind of leave it alone and anticipate it getting looser tonight, that we'll have a good race tonight and be able to do better than we did last time here. But we were fighting it a little bit in practice.
Okay, we'll take some questions for Danica. If you have one, raise your hand. Claire's got one over here to the left, and then we'll move over to Bob Pockers.
Claire Beeline, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. How comfortable do you feel here at Richmond on a short track, and given all the recipe for the aggression and everything? How aggressive are you feeling you can be now? When you first came in, maybe not so much, but you said you were kind of opening the door to going back at people if they come at you.
Yeah, I think some of that comes from, time and place. You're not always around the cars that have affected your day on a certain weekend. It's not always for the right reasons. It's not always for a good spot, or maybe it's super early in the race, or maybe it's just a matter of, you can't get to them to be aggressive. But in general, about being aggressive, I think that comes from your comfort zone, just getting bigger with the car and being able to think less about what to do and more about where you want to go. So I think that just comes with time. And, I definitely think it's important as a driver to stand your ground and not let anyone push you around. And, I plan on doing that.
Let's go over here to Bob to the right.
Bob Pocker, Sporting News. And next week at Chicago, your first Cup race at Chicago, is it a big deal to have your first Cup race, the first Cup race near your hometown? I mean, it would mean anything more than maybe last week or the week after?
I think more than there are going to be, 10 or so people out there, which is a lot for me. Normally not really many. Anybody comes to the races because we don't exactly volunteer tickets to anyone, because it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of stuff going on in the weekend. And for people that come out to the track, you want them to have a good time, and if you don't feel like you can help them have a good time, then there's not much point. But I think more than anything, the fact that it's the second time at Chicagoland is more why there's people there, is because they were reminded that I go to the Chicago racetrack, and then the second time they're coming because they remember me being there a little while earlier and missing the opportunity to get the tickets. So it's going to be busy with the Cup weekend, but I have to say that a lot of times on the weekend when if there's people there, and especially being busy, busier than normal even, I don't really have to do anything, quite honestly. My husband's a real trooper, and he takes care of anyone that comes out to the track. But other than that, I don't see, there's not really any difference between going to Chicago or going to Richmond or Atlanta or any other place. Only matters if there's people out there that we're entertaining.
Slide over here to the middle to Lee. Raise your hand, please.
Or I should say that my husband's entertaining.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Danica, are you planning on running any nationwide races next year, or are you going to try to add some to your schedule?
Yeah, I would like to run some nationwide races next year for sure. For me, I'd like to run the big tracks because I think they definitely relate the closest, Daytona and Talladega, and then I'd like to run some of the tracks that are a little bit more challenging and difficult, and tracks that benefit from just pure track time. So I know definitely coming away from some of these tracks, like I know definitely Darlington was one of them where I felt like there was a lot of the similarities between the nationwide race and then the Cup race. So things like that I think are good for me to run next year and get that extra track time. Obviously, it's a matter of figuring out how that's going to work and sponsorship, but I would like to run some.
Other questions? Raise your hand. Right
It
here.
is really nice not having to run both, though. I feel like I'm on cruise control today.
Danica, Joe Kelly, local radio. Do you still attempt the thought of running the Indy 500 next year along with Charlotte?
I do. I would like to, if it's with the right team. If it's not, then there's no point for me. I feel like I'd still be able to get in the seat and get comfortable with the amount of practice time there is at Indy and have a shot to win the race. But again, if I don't have a shot to win the race or feel like it's a real opportunity, then I'm not going to do it. So it's a matter of time.
Anyone yet about a car?
Yeah, I mean, we're working on it.
Working
So I'd like to do it if we can. But like I said, all those things that I just said.
Other questions? Raise your hand. We'll get one. Stan.
Danica, in all of your years of racing and running for a championship, when you look at the chase that the Sprint Cup Series has and the possibility that you could be part of it next year, what do you think of it?
Oh my God, if I really was a part of like running for the chase, I'd be having a pretty stellar year next year. So, but just the chase and the championship and the way that it's set up in Sprint Cup, I feel is definitely has its pros and cons. I think for the drivers that don't quite make it and then have a great last part of the season, it's surely frustrating because they could have made up a lot more, of course. But it's an entertainment sport, and it's a great talking point and a great source of news for right now, and gets a lot of people excited and watching going into the last 15 races of the year, because you've got all the ones leading up to the chase. And then the chase itself. So it's a good marketing tool for sure, and that is the sort of thing that needs to be out there to generate attention and make the sponsors interested and make the sponsors that aren't involved interested to get there. So it's a good thing.
Any other questions? Lee?
Are you relieved that Ryan Newman got his deal done, so you'll have additional feedback coming when you do have your rookie year?
I am. I actually was in my bus reading that across the bar on the bottom of the screen on ESPN. So I did ask Tony. We were testing the other day, and I asked him how it was going, and I've asked definitely throughout the year how it's going with that, and he told me they were really close, so obviously they were. And I really like Ryan. He's a really good guy. He's pretty damn funny, and I think it's very beneficial for someone like me to have experience on the team, and Tony and Ryan drive quite differently, and it's good for me as a driver to see those different styles on the traces that we get for every lap we run. So I'm excited about that. I'm sure the team is relieved to get that out of the way, and it's always tricky and tough in this sport. It's the chicken or the egg. You got to have a driver to get the sponsor, but you got to have a sponsor to get the driver. So hopefully this gets them to the point where sponsors pull the trigger.
Right here on the front with Nate.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Following up on that, Danica, I'm sure you're aware of the Office Depot situation and the holes there that the team is looking for. When the team announced that last week, they said that they were going to be looking at sponsors with you kind of as part of the deal. Do you think that now that maybe they are set with Ryan Newman, that they'll have maybe an easier time of selling the trio, you, Tony, him, to bring more sponsorship into the team? Or?
Well, success is going to come when we're fully sponsored across the board, obviously, and have a lot of flexibility and with dollars that we can go testing and we can develop and things like that. So that's a good thing, and I'm happy to help. They've been they've been a really great team to work with, and they have kind of delivered on all the promises that they gave in the beginning about how they were going to treat our relationship, and I respect that a lot because it hasn't always been that way, and so I really trust them, and it makes me want to work for them even harder. So if they need my help with anything, they know they'll get it. So yeah, I hope that does happen.
Anybody else?
And it's not exactly a bad time hanging out with Tony and Ryan. They're pretty funny. Like when we went to our Coca-Cola event in downtown Atlanta on whatever it was last week, Thursday night, we all rode in the car together. Well, my husband was in the car too, and they told him he needs to come around more and he doesn't need a reason. So they really liked him, but they're funny guys, and I like spending time with them. So so if it means more events together, then that's a good thing. Oh, Paul leads the banter. Paul is extremely intelligent. Well, Tony's pretty damn witty too. Obviously, he's pretty smart, and they really all are, which is why they were having a little wolf pack that night. It was going well.
Okay, go ahead, Stan.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on that, if you would, please. Stan Creekmore from RPMTonight.com. As a driver, are you more involved with all of the scenarios with a sponsor than you were when you were in IndyCar?
No, I wouldn't say so. No, the situation and the structure is a little bit different with how it works with my new team. So no, but I do feel like there's a good synergy and a good relationship and a good talking relationship with that stuff. And when I go to Stewart Haas and I go to the office, it's very easy to talk about potential sponsors and talk about interests and help them with stories for the sponsors that they're trying to lure in, of my experiences with them, or with their product. So I feel like it's a really good dialogue that we have, and I feel like we both help each other there.
Okay, Danica, thanks for coming in, and we'll wish you all the best here this evening.
Thank you. Have a good day.